Hello, CFA Nation. Gabe.
And Nick, the wicket keeper, is here.
And we're here today to bring you guys another Cricket Convos.
Cricket Convos.
Man, you're so late on that, bro. Just saying.
I wasn't even thinking about it.
So we're going to be discussing our impressions of the 100. We caught our first 100 match. And, some interesting thoughts on that. We'll do a quick recap of the game. Not necessarily our 3 wickets, but, just talk about, obviously, my Trent Rockets still on top, just pulling off an unbelievable victory, snatching a victory from the jaws of defeat. One Alex Hales, who I hope Owen Morgan is watching this. I really do. Okay, because you keep throwing some trash guys out, Burns. You throw some trash guys out there, and it's like, listen, y'all better get over it. I don't care what Alex Hales did. If he's got a substance abuse problem, then you get him some treatment. But this dude can rake. And if you're an English fan, you should be livid every time he's left off of any of the international teams, especially your limited formats. But my friend, I'm gonna let you have the first impression of the 100. Let's first start there. First game, watching the 100. What do you think?
I don't know if it was the graphics, which I didn't mind. They were different. I don't know if it was the graphics or what, but it seemed more different than T20 than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to feel that different, but it felt completely different. There was some players that we weren't familiar with, so I always love learning about and watching new players, but it seems so different. And even, I don't know, some of the atmosphere was a little different. It was great to have the fans there, so that might have been one part of it. It might have been subliminal, but it just seemed different to me. But I really enjoyed it. It seemed more of a piece of entertainment, right, than a traditional cricket match that we'll watch, because usually we'll watch the international matches. It was something that, at least in this match, because if you guys haven't seen it, this was a great match. It's got to be one of the best in the early season. You had the Trent Rockets that were bowling first, and they took some wickets in the middle with Rashid Khan or whatever, and they kept the Superchargers from scoring a lot more than they could have, especially the way they kind of started off pretty decently. Right. And it seemed like the Trent Rockets had this match in hand, and then their batting collapsed. Their best brand name guys, they all went down super early, and then it seemed like the Superchargers, and then, like Gabe said, Trent Rockets snatched us out of the jaws of defeat. But it was such a roller coaster, and it was so exciting that way, to where I don't think there was a lot. There's some, but a lot of matches in the other formats was roller coaster like that. So I thought that was great. I thought the fans was great. I had no problem with the graphics. There was a lot of things I liked about it. I had to get used to the number of balls or this or that, and whether they're going 5 balls or 10 balls and who's left. But my initial reaction was I enjoyed it a whole lot. And I don't know if it's going to be here to stay for a long period of time, but I definitely think it has the potential.
Interesting. So for me, I definitely enjoyed the match. And, we'll talk about the match in a minute, but to your point, the graphics are a lot different, right? They count down from, like, when you're chasing, they count down from the total that you need to make. That's a little bit different. Even the way the scoring looked or whatnot, I didn't have a problem with it. It actually felt like a different product. I felt like this is just going to be a shorter T20 game, or whatever, right? It actually felt like a completely different game. It's still cricket. We recognize it's still cricket, but the format, being able to see Rashid Khan go back-to-back overs, like, not overs, obviously. You could go 5 balls or 10 balls. You wouldn't see that. Like, some of those things actually worked, where I was like, okay, I don't know if this is going to work. And, arguably, you don't have Rashid Khan do that in that game, it's a loss. Vice versa on the other side, because it was the day of Rashid's. Rashid is hot, throw him back out there. You know what I'm saying? Let him get 10 straight balls. Yeah, it was so... It was such an interesting dynamic, the game. I think that the fans being there it definitely changed the atmosphere. It reminds you how important it is to have the fans in the stands. And it was so much fun. I love the unis. I know you and I are a little differing there. I love the bright colors. I don't mind the uniforms. I'm a huge baseball fan. And truth be told, one of the things that I like are the newer teams and a lot of the expansion teams. Your Padres got the camo. They wear all the different unis. If you're a Yankee, you're playing in the pinstripe stripes or you're playing in the gray. You know what I mean? Once in a while, they'll wear the black jersey or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? I like all the color. It makes it. It's better for TV. It's a better TV product, I should say. And I definitely enjoyed that. The level of play was up there, bro. The level of play was up there. Rashid Khan was an absolute savage. Okay, and Alex Hales just showed what he had. You know, Ben Stokes, he had a huge drop there, but he played well as well. And I think that if England, the one thing you'll see is right now the timing is going to hurt the sport. Why? Because you're going to lose a lot of players real soon because of the England Test Series, right? So, I mean, Alex Hales will still be there because they want him nowhere near the international team. You know, he's banned. He's been banished. But you're going to lose a Ben Stokes. You're going to lose those guys. So I think the timing of it needs to change so that it doesn't impact some of these bigger tournaments. You know what I'm saying? Or these bigger test matches that you know you're going to have throughout the year. So I think that that's always a challenge. Because guess what? You got the IPL, bro. And I know that it was trying to avoid the IPL because then if you also want some of those other players that are going to play in the IPL, you can't have it during the IPL season. So it's going to be a delicate balance. And I think if they can squeeze it right after the IPL or before it, whatever it is, but not so deep that it's going to run into something else that's established, like maybe the Big Bash League or even, you know, the Ashes every 2 years. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be careful about when you're going to have it so that it doesn't take away from the pool of players. Because I think for me, that's always the thing. Like, once you start losing some of these players, even as a fan, you got to be like, well, we all got our guys now. You know what I mean? And that makes it kind of challenging. But outside of that, man, I love the product. I'll be honest. I thought T20 would be very successful here in America. The 100 would absolutely be an American game, bro. Fans will be able to follow it. Fans will be able to get behind it. It's going to go relatively quickly, like an American sport would. I know that the IPL is planning to come to America, right? We're going to have our own
like IPL, but the T20 league, yeah.
The T20 league. If they use the 100 format, I think it's going to lend it to be more TV friendly.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with everything you said, 100%, besides the fact that Ben Stokes did pretty well. He got 2 wickets. They were both on catches, but he only scored 5 as a batsman. He had that huge drop. He did not have his best game. Needs to dye the hair back, I think. But one thing that I'm thinking about, let's talk about 2008, the inception of the IPL.
Right.
Since then, you had PSL, CPL, did I say CPL yet? LPL. You have now the 100. You have all these different leagues that are sprouting up, and they all want to use some of the same players. It's nice that they're in different domestic places so they can have their own guys, but they're all overseas are basically the same guys, and those guys have international duties and this or that. Pre-2008, where you had basically your international schedule and your domestic schedule, is it as simple as they're just not playing domestic and they're now playing these leagues for bigger money? Yeah. Or are they not getting enough time to rest the body, to, rehabilitate so that they're at their top form for international? Is it a situation where the international game is now taking a back seat to these domestic leagues and these TV leagues? I worry about that a little bit, but since the 100's here, I'm not going to overanalyze it. I just wonder, how many more of these leagues are going to sprout up? Because I thought there was already a lot of convolution before, and now you have this other league. But I agree with you. I think it is more for an American, for a layman sport. Someone in the comment section said it's for moms and kids. I don't think it's that. Nothing against moms and kids, but I know my wife and your wife, they're not the hugest sports fans. Your wife loves watching her kids play, but I don't think she's a huge avid sports fan outside of that.
Unless it's watching football or international league.
That's true. She's
soccer. She's a huge soccer fan. But no, I hear you.
But she's more of a fan than my wife is, at least, and all that kind of stuff. But those are some things I worry about. But I don't want to get too far off track with that. Sorry about that. I just wanted to mention that. So talking about this match, you had a very interesting situation where the Trent Rockets, they lost the names I knew of, at least, they lost them
Quickly.
super early. We're talking about, and Darcy Short, he got the most of these guys with his 14.
Right.
They lost Milan and Joe Root, both to Ducks. Goodbye.
Ducks. Joe Root, first ball. How dare you, Joe Root? How dare you? You better not ruin
my frustration.
Better not ruin my team. Oh, Joe Root, watch, the Brahmi Army's gonna come after me. You better not savage this team.
My frustration,
bro.
I mean, you have the crazy thing is they kind of had. It was a score. The Fall of the Wickets scored 20 with 1 loss, 20 with 2 loss, 23 loss. They lost a lot of those early on with the score sitting at 20. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter. And I think that's the biggest difference, and it might have been just this match. But the biggest difference with 100, where you have 20 less balls, so less time to think, or this, you just send the next guy out there. Because Alex Hales lasted the entire time, and because you have a tail end that can bat, Rashid Khan, 25, Gregory, 14, Carter, 13. Because you had that combination, it might have been just this match, but it seems crazy to me that Trent Rockets can lose their big guys and no, we'll still put up a score and we'll still chase. I mean, that 6 by Alex Hales was a beautiful fan going crazy walk-off 6. But to me, that is the story of this match, that offensively, I always carry the batting side, they were able to overcome.
I mean, I normally love the bowling, and it's funny, we're always going to analyze things differently, you and I. But what this is, for me, seeing these spinners dominate the way they did, both Rashid Khan and Rashid from the Superchargers were just absolutely munching everybody up. The ball was turning, man. And I think it was just a story of surviving, bro. Honestly, it was just a story of surviving, because guys would come in there, and again, Milan, first ball, okay? There was 2 times in a row that we were like, we're on our hat trick ball, you know what I'm saying? Root out on the duck as well. And we're like, are you kidding me? Wickets fell in bunches, bro, in bunches. And I think that's the beauty of also not having to say, okay, the over's over. We can get, we got to move this guy now, or here's your 5 balls. No, he's hot. He's on a hat trick ball. Keep him out there. Let's go. You know what I mean? Let's go 2 overs. No, not 2 overs. Let's go 10 balls back to back. I got to get that over mentality out of me. So I enjoyed that. With that being said, I think that for me, the story of this game was Alex Hales, because yes, it wasn't like lasting a test match. It's not like being out there for 30 overs or 40 overs. You know what I'm saying? It's not like being in a ODI match or whatever. And okay, can you last 15 overs, or you know what I mean? Where you've got to use those skills. But was it just like a T20 match? Practically. And the guy was able to be there pretty much to the end. He realized, I have to play safe. I've got to wait till we've lost those big guys, okay? We've lost the other mashers. Milan is gone. Root is gone. So I'm going to play that secondary fiddle. Let Rashid Khan go where he can get. And once he's out, he's out. Let Gregory and I can't remember the other kid's name. Yeah. Go out there and get what they can get. And then I'm going to farm the strike and take over this game at the end. And it's exactly what he did. That just shows you how talented this guy is. And again, bro, I know that Alex Hales has had some issues, right? With substances and fights with teammates or whatever. But ultimately, man, are you putting the best product out there to win, England? Does that make sense? And we talked about this with England's rotation policy, where bubble rotation, and I don't think England always puts, Nick, the best a team out there to win, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? They were the first one that started with this rotation policy, and I understand they played more cricket than anybody else, but between that and keeping off talented players like Alex Hales because of personal issues, and do you think that they're always thinking, okay, this is our A squad, we're going all in to win, or that sometimes politics gets in the way of them putting the best possible product out there?
Politics always get in the way. And as fantastic as Alex Hales was here, let's not get excited a little bit to where this is still 100. This is still a domestic league. This is not international. This is one match that we've seen Alex Hales perform in. I don't think there's any doubt that he has serious talent and that his potential, this was not a fluke. But I think there's a lot of things going on. And I do think that personal relationships, personal feelings of I just don't feel comfortable with this guy in my squad or whatever it is, I do think that plays a part. And I think eventually Alex Hales, it can only be so long, even if it is in the 100, where he makes this kind of noise before you can't reject it. The tragic thing will be this. Alex Hales, in my opinion, will get back on the international side, but how short of a leash will he have? Does he go out and score a 5 and then get out and then, he's done, drop him. We gave you guys a chance. We told you he was trash. What kind of leash? If you're going to bring him on, don't bring him on because you want to appease the fans or you want to get down the noise. Bring him on where you're actually going to give him a chance and let him establish as a young future player. I think also there might be a little bit of, oh man, I don't really want to say it. How do I want to say this? There might be a little bit of hubris on the England selecting side, where they feel like they have such deep pockets that they can put together a winning squad with any combination of 11. And I think we've seen when they tour other places, which has been their downfall, that that's not the case. And I get the bio bubble. I get COVID. I'm not in charge of those things. I wouldn't want to be. But I do think that plays a big part.
And to your point, Nick, okay, put him out there and give him a real chance. Let's talk about the chances that they've given guys like Rory Burns, all right, opening batsman. He's been horrible for a long time. Horrible, all right? Let's just be real, all right? Dan Lawrence, another guy that they give chances to. I mean, I get it. Ollie Pope is a young guy and he's like the future or whatever, but are you telling me he's done more and deserves more of a look than Alex Hales? Stop it. Stop it. Like Joe Root, I get it. He's the captain. He is who he is. All right. Johnny Bairstow, you're going to live with Johnny Bairstow with what he does because you know he could put up those huge numbers. Josh Butler, that's not the guys I'm talking about over here. Even a Don Sibley, right? Sibley has his place on the team because he can play that test guy. He's going to eat up all those overs, eat up all those balls, wear down the bowlers. But some of these other guys they could throw out there, are you serious? Stop it. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. Politics is a huge play. We see it too in Australia. All right. Another Burns who's, I don't want to say trash, but you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's the Burns name. I really don't know. But just saying. And my boy Uzi cannot touch the field. He can't sniff the field. Stop it. Stop it. We know it's politics. And that's what I'm saying. You know, I think sports, like everything else, when feelings started getting involved, it's like, okay, now we care more about feelings than we do about winning. And ultimately put the best product out there. You're not just representing a small town, okay? You're not representing Vegas or New York or like we do our domestic sports teams here, right? And the MLB you're representing England. That means you put the best that England can put out there, or the best Australia could put out there, or the best West Indies could put out there, or the best, you know what I mean, New Zealand could put out there. I don't care about your personal feelings. I don't care about that. If I play better than the next guy, I should be in there. And when you don't do that, you know what happens? You lose the team, Nick. You lose the team because you got announcers, you got everybody else already talking about how JL, for instance, and I'm just picking on him because it's all out there, has a personal problem with Uzi. Uzi's outspoken. He whatever, this or whatever. And everybody's second judging him when you got the commentators and the sport beat writers talking about this guy should be playing and the coach isn't doing it. Now, as a coach, you're letting it be known that you're not doing what's in the best interest of this team to win. You're putting your personal feelings and preferences in there, your feelings in there, and I don't care about your feelings. I really don't. I care about winning, period. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think that the biggest thing to come out of this for me was how good Alex Hales is and the fact that, yes, that's at least in limited format, bro, ODI or T20, he better be on that squad next time. He better be on that squad. But with that being said, Trent Rockets are number one. Trent Rockets are number one. Yeah. I'm loving the product. And right now, I'm excited because I know that moving forward, okay, we've got right now the 100. Then we got IPL starting back up in September. You know what I mean? Then right after IPL finishes, we're going to have the Ashes, bro. Like, oh, we got so much cricketing ahead of us, man. I'm super excited for all this stuff.
Yeah, just some notes about this match that we didn't get a chance to talk about. There was 0 no balls on Trent Rocket's side except for one guy, Delaney. He had 6 of them. He had 6 no balls. That's so insane. It didn't cost him the match. 2 no balls from David Willey. The last one was really, really horrible. It really cost the team.
Yes.
You had pretty balanced bowling attack besides David Willey, and he's usually been a pretty good bowler. He was not good in this match. He had the highest run per ball rate, over 2, and you don't have a lot of 2s. There wasn't anyone on the Trent Rocket side that had over 2. But you had Rahman, Rashid, Parkinson, Stokes. They all had themselves 2 wickets, which was awesome. On the Trent Rocket side, they had an extra guy that went for a few extra balls here or there. But DeLonghi got 3. Rashid Khan got 3. Matthew Carter got 2. So pretty balanced in those regards. You had the openers on both sides were the different story. Superchargers openers combined for 12, and Trent Rockets combined for 54 because Alex Hales with his 40. And just one last thing about Alex Hales, he at one point was one of the best T20 batsmen in the world for a short time there. His ODI average is 37, 38. So he definitely shows that he knows how to do limited format. And if nothing else, to your point, he's probably earned himself a spot coming forward in the T20 side. We'll see what he can do. He is 32, so I fear that if they bury him for the next few years, he'll just stay buried. Hopefully not for his case because he was the difference. And, of course, Ben Stokes definitely cost the match. He had a chance to catch Alex Hales before he went nuts in the last 20 balls or whatever it was. He dropped that, would have made it 9 wickets, would have had the 2 walking wickets you would assume there, and it just wasn't to be. But Trent Rockets, they're in first place. I hate to say it. Gabe's team was in first place. I would never have chosen the Trent Rockets in a million years, so good on you, 100%. We'll see what happens for the future in the 100. If you want us to do more 100 videos, breakdowns, highlight reactions, whatever it is, let us know. Get in that comment section and tell us all about it. Get in our email, get in our Instagram, our Twitter, and flood us with those requests so that we are convinced to, the little time that we have as family men to put it towards some more 100 content. But, thank you so much for checking out this Cricket Convos. Check out some others in the future that are coming and the ones in the past. And until next time.
That's 6 runs.